Hey, true crime fanatics, I'm Jake Barton, creator of the history storytelling podcast called Historium, and you're listening to California Dreaming on the Orbital Jigsaw Network.
This episode of California Dreaming is brought to you by BLUBRRY. Creating a podcast is not that simple. It's more than just recording yourself and uploading it. To really get your show everything you want it to be, you're going to need a little more than that. You need easy, reliable hosting so your time can be spent creating your content, the most accurate download stats, so you can see if you're reaching the audience that you're wanting to, and a web page that makes setting up totally easy on you and won't take up too much of your valuable time. And BLUBRRY offers that and much more for hosts and aspiring hosts alike. Simple media hosting, and a fully integrated WordPress website with their PowerPress sites. So if you already have a podcast, or you've dreamed about starting one, head over to www.orbitaljigsaw.com/dream to sign up, and the first month is on me. The BLUBRRY support team is available to walk you through the steps of migrating your show without losing any subscribers, or to help you get started in the process of launching your new show. With the first month for free, using promo code DREAM, you've got no excuses. And now, on to the show. And once again, before we get started, I must provide you with this warning. This episode contains very, very explicit details of sexual violence towards very young children, topics including child abuse, images of child abuse, graphic sexual content, and violence and cruelty towards animals, and is not intended for all audiences. It is not suitable for young children, and it is not suitable for work. Listener discretion is advised. And also, this is the second part of a series. If you haven't listened to the first part, you should stop this now and go back and listen to part 1 first, and then come back to this. Otherwise, you might be a little bit lost. Last time in part 1, we talked about how the allegations of ritualistic satanic child sexual abuse and animal sacrifice were brought down upon the McMartin Preschool in the community of Manhattan Beach, California in the summer of 1983. We talked about how the allegations of one troubled young mother laid the foundation for a mass hysteria, often referred to as satanic panic, that swept the community and the country. Today, we're going to talk much more about this case, but our main focus is going to be the criminal trial, therapist Key McFarland, and the prosecution's case against the McMartin defendants. In today's 46th episode of California Dreaming, The Tale of the McMartin Preschool, Part 2. Jury selection for the trial against Raymond Buckey and his mother, Peggy McMartin Buckey, took 2 weeks. And the makeup of the jury was as follows: 8 men, 4 women, half of them were white, 3 African American, 2 Asian, and 1 Hispanic. Most of them had some college background. And opening statements began on July 14th, 1987, nearly 4 years after the allegations had been made. Let's take a look at the opening statements first. Deputy District Attorney Lyle Rubin told the jury that this was to be a case of trust and betrayal. Trust placed in the hands of Ray Buckey and Peggy Buckey. Parents will testify and they will tell you they didn't ask about these activities that were going on at the preschool. They didn't piece together the clues that they were getting from their children. These parents will tell you how they now understand the importance of listening. Betrayal. These innocent children placed their trust in these 2 teachers, and their teachers betrayed them. One mother observed her 2 daughters performing oral copulation on each other. Another mother saw a sore rectum on her child. She will tell you that her child did not want to go to the school. She did not want to sit on her father's lap, and that she ran through the house singing, "What you see is what you are, you're a naked movie star." One mother will tell you that she saw her daughter masturbating with a wooden pole. One mother will tell you that her children had nightmares. One mother will tell you that her child had a rectal fissure. Another mother will tell you that she saw bloody stools when her child went to the bathroom. After then, the people will ask you to bring back verdicts of guilty on all 100 counts. Defense attorney Dean Gitz for Peggy Bucky went next. Ladies and gentlemen, yesterday Miss Rubin told you that this is a case about trust. I am here to outline Miss Bucky's defense. This is not a case about trust. This is a case about victims. It is your job to decide who are the victims and what I call the enemy. It is the theory of the defense that all these people are victims. There is one more victim I will not name, but before this case is over, you will know who he is. You will come to know Mrs. Bucky. You will find that she is not a perfect person. Some say she talks too much, that she's nosy. But under it all, you will see a warm, kind heart. You will come to know that Mrs. Bucky does not molest children. She loves children. You will come to know that Mrs. Bucky does not slaughter animals. The district attorney seems to talk a lot about games and mentions that someone dug up a lot and someone left the school with a bunch of boxes, suggesting that pornography was somehow secreted. You will come to know exactly what was taken out in those boxes. And you will come to know about the money that was spent and the people utilized. It is what I call the non-evidence in this case. The people interviews included 450 children and 150 adults. Also, 49 photo lineups were prepared. Bank account records were seized and examined. 82 locations were photographed, and one church was investigated. 3 churches were implicated, 2 food markets, 2 car washes, 2 airports, and 1 national park. Thousands of pornographic pictures and movies were confiscated by police, examined in a search for any of the McMartin children. Laboratory tests were conducted on 20 blankets from the school, the children's clothing, sheets, rags, and a long list of other items, including mops, kitchen rags, notebooks, soil samples, sponges, animal bones, quilts, underwear. An archaeological dig was conducted. All of these investigations came up negative. They were looking for secret tunnels, trapdoors. They conducted surveillance of Ray Bucky, his family and friends, consuming 135 hours of work. They consulted with a Satanic expert and United States Customs agents. They contacted pedophiles. They checked real estate records, utility records, relatives, friends, associates of the Bucky family, other possible offenders, vehicles, uncharged suspects. They attempted a pornography buy. All of this cost more than $1 million. And the results? 0. We believe the money was well spent. It was well worth it. Everything they investigated and found nothing. This is defense evidence. Well worth it. Between August 17th and September 7th, 1983, Detective Hogue will tell you that she contacted 12 families, and you can imagine the impact that would have. But the result of the investigation? 0 molestation. Peggy's name was never mentioned. So, as of September 7, 1983, there was no molestation. There was a search, and the purpose of the search was to find pornography. So the detective executed a search warrant. A letter was sent out stating that Ray Buckey was arrested for child abuse. It told the parents to, quote, ask your child, unquote. As of that date, nobody indicated any molestation was going on at the school. Within the Children's Institute International structure, many things happened that you have to know. And when Key McFarlane said a child had been molested, the mother would talk to another mother. The interviewers gave the parent a 9-page questionnaire, and while that parent was filling out the questionnaire, they took the child into a separate room and interviewed the child for an hour, sometimes 2 hours. You need to look at those tapes carefully. Why did the parents take their children there? They were told that they were experts. They had an impressive-looking building. They had a separate unit called the Child Abuse Diagnostic Center. These people must know what's going on. The parents were told and believed that these people were experts. The interviewer in every single case walks through the doorway and says, Mr. and Mrs. Parent, I have some bad news for you. Your child's been molested. You will see the tape. Each and every parent was told, you have to be supportive of the child. It's hard to disagree with that, but the end result is that it reinforces the child. And the parents wouldn't look at the whole tape. It would be fast forwarded, so the parents never saw all of the denials. The parents were convinced that it happened, and the child gets love and affection. You will see that they were referred to a therapist. One of those people was an employee of the very agency that did the evaluation, connected ideologically. And the involvement of Children's Institute International didn't end there. They brought in an employee of theirs, Dr. Hager. She will testify as to her findings. She will conclude that they are consistent with sexual abuse. She will testify that the children were molested, but the medical evidence does not exist. You will find further reinforcement of the child. It provides a bonding with other families. They have been told that their children were molested in these cases. You will see it in the tape how a child testified at the preliminary hearing that she was locked in a closet. There are no closets at the preschool. You will see how easy it is to think that constitutes evidence of child molestation. So simple, so easy. You will hear of trips away from the school and the problem of maintaining the school while all the teachers are away molesting entire classes. The parents come and go, yet you will hear of entire classes molested. The naked movie star game. Each of the 13 children spoke of this, and not one of them played the game in the same way. Why were the Manhattan Beach Police and Children's Institute International victims? Because they believed in what they were doing. They're not entirely victims because they should have known better. There is only one more victim, and that victim is the same as the enemy. And you will get to know this person. You will have to solve this case. The defense attorney for Raymond Buckey was last with his opening statements. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I have heard negative things about betrayal of trust. There is something very, very wrong about what happened. The truth never really had a chance because the children were artificially traumatized by interviewers into falsely believing that they were molested. The evidence itself will be a source for you to decide. There are people who are primarily responsible for what is wrong in this case, What is the effect of telling parents their child has been molested? If that child has not been molested, could you ever convince the parents thereafter that the child was not molested? Can winning a trial at all costs be consistent with justice? The evidence will tell you that Ray Buckey was not at the school at the critical times. Ray Buckey was not even there at the school when one of the boys who accused him was there. The teachers who have died were not accused, yet all of those who are living, all were accused. There were good reasons for people putting their trust in the school. There will be testimony that naked games were played. The children played good, wholesome, healthy games. The children went on field trips, ones where parents came along. Songs were sung. There was a musical environment. No guns were permitted. There were projects. Individual pieces were put up onto the bulletin board. There were drawings and paintings that these children did. There were pets, turtles, rabbits, guinea pigs, dogs, and bird feeders. It was a happy environment. The district attorney sent these families to Children's Institute International, and it was they who said that they were molested and referred them to therapists. They were directed to the Manhattan Beach Police Department and made statements. And the parents were told to go to an agency that provides funds for victims. That led to payments to Children's Institute International and therapists. Witnesses were generated. The district attorney is putting on this case with witnesses almost entirely from Children's Institute International, and they provided the witnesses. Ray Buckey is 29 years old. He was born in 1958 in Hawthorne, California. He attended the Virginia McMartin Preschool. He has coached a variety of sports. When he is at home, he kept a number of pets. He is not a person who can harm an animal. They secretly taped conversations between Ray and his mother for hundreds and hundreds of hours, hoping to hear conversations of crimes. But they didn't. He began as a teacher at the McMartin Preschool in 1981 and took classes at UCLA. He became a teacher in 1981 until he was arrested. He was living with his parents. The house he lived in was searched. Ray Buckey rushed to a hiding location and pulled out some pornography and attempted to flush it down the toilet. It was not child pornography. It was pictures of adults. He was caught trying to flush it. I am Ray Buckey's attorney, and I do speak for him. So I would like to tell you that I will be testifying in this case. He will be testifying. And we ask that you keep an open mind and that you await all the evidence in this case, and that he fully intends to reveal all he knows about this case, and that there might be victims on both sides. Mrs. Judy Johnson told authorities that her boy was molested at a time when Ray Buckey was in jail. He gave no testimony at the preliminary hearing. He was interviewed on videotape, but that videotape has disappeared. We were told that they were experts. They had expert credentials. Key McFarland's only credentials were a driver's license and a welder's license. So during the course of the trial, the prosecution would present 61 witnesses, including 9 children, a jailhouse informant, parents, medical experts, therapists, and a woman who had a sexual relationship with Raymond Buckey. The parent witnesses were called to lay the groundwork for the accounts their children that would follow. Basically, the parent testified that prior to receiving that letter from Manhattan Beach Police Department, informing them that Ray Bucky was arrested for child abuse. He or she had no real reason to suspect that his or her child had ever been molested. After bringing their children to Children's Institute International, and after having them talk to Key McFarlane, the parents became convinced that their children had been sexually abused. And when their children had bladder infections, nightmares, created anatomically correct artwork, or seemed to be masturbating, this was all proof sexual abuse had taken place. The parents theorized that the abuse was going on during nap time, which was a time parents were discouraged from picking up their children. And the reason for that, I know from personal experience, is because it's extremely disruptive. The child witnesses for the prosecution ranged in age from 8 all the way up to 15. Many of them recounted the same stories from the preliminary hearing. The jury heard from the kids the naked movie star game, Ray Bucky scaring them into secrecy by killing a cat and cutting it open with a knife, and several accounts of both Ray and Peggy Bucky having sexually abused them. Of course, there's a great deal of testimony to go over when it comes to the kids and all of the witnesses, but that's basically the gist of it. I am going to go over the testimony of some of the witnesses that I think were the most compelling. But there is one thing that I wanted to point out before we get started, just to kind of set the tone for what's to come, so you kind of have an idea of how the prosecution pieced this case together. I wanted to point out that at the end of the testimony of one child, a 12-year-old who testified that both Peggy and Ray had molested her, many questions she answered, she said she did not know or could not remember, but she got her main points across. But at the end, there was an exchange about a transcript prosecutor Lyle Rubin had given her to read. And I thought you might find this interesting. The defense attorney asked the 12-year-old, "When you got the transcript from Lyle, did she tell you to answer the questions with the tabs? What were the tabs for?" Answer: "They pointed out some things like a smart answer." Question: "The tabs to look to understand smart answers at the preliminary hearing?" Yes. Lyle Rubin gave you smart answers? We went through the answers and looked them up. Was Lyle Rubin going over the transcript, telling you how to answer? Sort of. And this would not be the only coaching of children that would come to light. But in the end, the child witnesses were found to be largely contradictory between their trial testimony and their preliminary hearing testimony. The defense was also able to present videotaped interviews of the children where they denied having been molested, while following that up with the Children's Institute International interviews showing Key McFarlane coaching children and not only rewarding children for what she felt were the correct answers, but chiding them for wrong answers. The defense tried bringing in a child witness of their own, the young boy who started this whole investigation in the first place, the son of Judy Johnson. But Judy Johnson had died, and the boy's father basically said that his son would testify over his dead body. The judge agreed with the boy's father that testifying at trial would be too stressful for the boy and declared him legally unavailable as a witness. Imagine that. The one whose uncomfortable bowel movement one day 4 years earlier, prompting this whole entire ordeal, his mother gone, and he is to remain silent. It just blows my mind. And dreamers, this is the part I've been waiting to talk to you about. Key McFarlane. I don't know where to start. Should I tell you about her trial testimony? Or should I tell you about some of the examples I found of her interview techniques first? She was the key witness at trial, and she would be on the stand for 5 weeks. And she spent much of that time fighting to defend herself. What had been deemed by then very controversial interview methods, which included naked puppets, anatomically correct dolls, and telling children what other children had previously told her about sexual abuse at the preschool. Even the judge was becoming concerned as her testimony dragged on, even telling the court outside the presence of the jury that it was his strong opinion that Kee McFarlane's credibility was becoming a huge issue. The following is a portion of some key points during her direct examination. Question: what is your occupation? I am a social worker and the director of the Child Sexual Abuse Center at Children's Institute International. Kee went on to say that she was the director of the program that focused on the sexual abuse of children, that she received her bachelor's degree in fine arts in Ohio, and decided to shift her focus from study of fine arts to social work and working with children. She applied to graduate school at the University of Maryland and began working with a number of organizations that were involved in services to children. She worked with groups that were studying the court system, just trying to get to know people and how the system worked. She received her master's degree in social work in 1974. Question: where did you go in 1976? To Washington, D.C. I joined the staff of the National Center on Child Abuse and Neglect. I was asked to come and be a member of the staff of their national center. My job title evolved into Child Sexual Abuse Specialist. I oversaw a number of programs that were funded by the federal government. I was in Washington for 6 years. The United States Congress passed an amendment which provided special emphasis on child sexual abuse, and they authorized separate funding for that would be specifically targeted to child sexual abuse. So dreamers, you kind of get the idea as far as the direct examination was going for Kee. She talked about her experience, and she talked about her findings in her interviews with the children at the McMartin Preschool. And she basically came to the conclusion that nearly 400 children had been systematically sexually abused. They were subjects of images and videos of child abuse, and subject to satanic-like rituals and practices in order to silence them. And it was pretty much a walk in the park for Kee as far as direct examination was concerned. So let's move on to cross-examination, as she's going to get it from both Ray's attorney and Peggy's. Question: when this child, whose name is redacted, says that she doesn't remember any naked games, and you said, "I know all of them because the kids told me," do you think that puts pressure on her to remember other games that she might not otherwise remember? Answer: yes. Question: do you think having naked dolls with anatomically correct parts tends to suggest to the child naked games, naked people? Answer: no, I don't believe that. Question: you made the statement to the child, "Every kid from the preschool came in and told me." Do you think that statement puts pressure on the child? Answer: no. Question: you said to the child, "That's why we use puppets. We wanted them to get real brave because more than 60 kids have come in and told yucky secrets, and every day more kids come in and tell us what went down there." Do you think that statement might put undue pressure on a child to comply with what other kids said? Answer: that statement's true. Question: you said to the child, "And we found out all the scary stuff was just a trick to scare the kids and to make the kids think that somebody would hurt their moms and dads or hurt them." We found out. Doesn't that tell the child that you know something happened? Answer: yes. Question: in this interview, you are the source of the contagion, right? At this point, the prosecution objected to the defense's contention that Kee was contaminating the children, and the judge sustained the objection. Question. You said, all the kids' mommies and daddies now know what happened at the school. All the touching, all those sneaky little games. Do you think by using that statement and using authority figures as sources of knowledge is putting pressure on the child? Answer. I am telling her that all the parents came to see me and that it's okay now. Question. But before that, did this child make any statements about touching? Answer. I don't really remember. Question. You said, well, I'm glad you're not so dumb, Mr. Snake. Do you think by telling the child that you are telling her that she is dumb if she doesn't agree with you? Answer. No. Question. You said, the mommies and daddies are so glad the kids are telling this stuff happened. When you say this stuff happened, are you telling the child that touching happened at the preschool? Answer. I think I'm trying to tell her that I know something happened. I use the word stuff on purpose. Question. Do you believe these statements you are making tell the children that you believe molestation happened at the preschool? Answer. No. Question. With the use of grown-ups and authority figures? Answer. No. Question. You said, now, Mr. Snake, I don't think that those teachers should still be teaching children, do you? Do you think that calls for an opinion? Answer. Yes, I think it calls for an opinion. Question. Do you think it tells the child that the teachers are molesters? Answer. No, not at all. Question. You said, well, Mr. Snake, you and any puppets you want to use can help us figure out so no more kids will have all that yucky stuff happen to them. Do you think that this is one of the most fundamental pressure points? Quote, all the other kids said it happened, unquote. Parents, you, authority figures. Is that telling the child that kids are getting raped and molested? Telling them that secret police are watching Ray all of the time? Do you think that statement might influence a child to believe that Ray is a bad person? Answer, yes. Question. You said, and we're going to make sure that no more kids get hurt. What do you mean, we? Answer, I was referring to myself. Question. You said, if you have a good memory like all the other kids. Isn't that putting pressure on the child? Answer, I'm not asking her to comply with my statement. Question. You said to the child, I think we should beat up Mr. Ray. What a bad guy. Do you think he's a bad guy? He's not going to do this anymore to any kids, is he? Did you encourage the child to beat up the Mr. Ray doll? Answer, in a manner of speaking, yes. Question. Is there a clinical reason for doing that? A therapeutic reason? Answer, it can be. Question. Looking back on this interview, do you think Raymond Buckey ever had a fair chance? Answer, this issue of fair may have to be left to the courts to decide. Now, dreamers, I'm going to give you some excerpts from the cross-examination of Key McFarlane from Peggy Buckey's attorney. Question. You indicated that you had training from the FBI. Answer. No, I was the trainer. Question. And who trained you before you trained the FBI? Answer. I attended numerous workshops. Question. Did you ever sit down with police? And did they tell you what law enforcement needs to do in interviewing a child who may have been molested? Answer. Yes. Question. Do you think that by disrobing a doll and exposing a child to what appears to be an erect penis, that that's suggesting things to the child? Answer. Well, we work very hard on the dolls to have them not appear to be an erect, stimulated penis. In fact, we tied them down. If you're asking about whether or not it can affect a child, it's one of the research of the last 5 years has been investigating, and there is absolutely no evidence in the research that they do that, providing incorrect or false information just because they've got these dolls. Question. The reason you used ugly-faced dolls is because you wanted to impress a negative perception of Mr. Bucky, and then you went on to use a black doll with funny boobs to represent Peggy Bucky, right? Answer. I couldn't say that. For the most part, the children picked the dolls. Question. Do you see any harm in telling a child what other children said? Answer. Harm? Well, I can see it becoming a problematic issue in legal cases, but it doesn't have any effect one way or another. You cannot say that it is harmful. In fact, I did it because I saw potential for children sitting and clamming up. I did it to prevent that. Question. You can't distinguish whether what that child has to say thereafter is something they really experienced or something that you're telling them that other kids said. Isn't that one of the issues? The prosecution objected on the basis of speculation, and the judge sustained. Question. Didn't you tell in the grand jury that you did not tell one child what the other child said? Combining your telling this child that naked games were played at the school because all the other children told us, and then to say that the kids really didn't tell us, the puppets told us? What is the combined effect of that? Answer. What I was trying to do is tell her that I already knew, was to take from her any burden that she might have about the repercussions of telling, and I was offering her the puppets as a medium to communicate. Question. And when you did that, did it occur to you that you might be creating a sort of realm of fantasy in which children might make false accusations in which they believe that they're just pretending? Answer. No. It's a major issue because there is not any data to show that has ever happened. Any. But because it is consistently raised, all of the studies with the use of anatomical dolls have shown that the use of those dolls does not in any way lead to false reports about abuse. And there are now, because of this case, and the many other cases in which these issues have been repeatedly raised in court, we now have research that looks into those issues of suggestibility. There are 5 or 6 articles which address these exact issues you are raising, and they are debunking the idea that by suggesting to children, even leading and misleading questions suggestive of sexual abuse, that they are debunking the idea that children just pick up and just repeat it. It's information that I didn't have when I did these interviews. Now, 5 years later, the research is out there, numerous studies, and the resistance of children to these questions is in the 93 to 99th percentiles. There is now research on the subject. Question. My gosh, it sounds like there have been a lot of current studies that really back up your techniques. Could you be a little more specific, please? Like the author, title, and the date of the publication? Answer. I can't recite that off the top of my head. Question. Just taking the act of a child beating a doll. Do you feel that there is a difference in interpreting what is going on when a child beats a doll of their own volition, as opposed to a child beating a doll at the suggestion of an adult? Answer. It can be different. It can be the same. It depends on the child. It may be the same whether they're invited to do it or whether they do it on their own. Question. To the extent that you adopted this doll beating technique, you cannot direct us to the identity of any child in the McMartin case that initiated it in their own right, right? Answer. Not off the top of my head. Question. And did any of these children, of their own volition, initiate the doll beating? Answer. Not that I recall. Question. You suggested it to the children. Answer. I don't remember. Question. Have you ever been tested for your credentials as an interviewer? Answer. Not that I can think of. Over the last several years, I have been one of the trainers. Several years ago, California changed its licensing requirements for psychologists and required that they be trained in the area of child abuse. And I have trained a number of these, and I also teach a course at USC, which meets the requirements for psychologists. Question. You accept, don't you, that in some of these interviews, you urge these little children to beat up these dolls? Answer. Yes. Question. And at the beginning of this piece, you're introducing the name of a game and the fact that it may or may not be a naked game, correct? Answer. Correct. Question. Don't you think it's overly suggestive to a child to tell the child that it's naked? Answer. Absolutely not. Question. I'd like to explore a little of what you said about the children naming names of other children. Looking at the names in this piece on the horsey game, is this the context in which the children names names of people who played the games? Answer. We ask the children, that's one way we name names. We pick them out of photographs. That's another way. There are specific places in these interviews where I ask the child, was this child involved? Did they get touched? Were they naked? And if the child confirms those direct questions, I would generally pass it along. Question. You would generally pass it along by telling somebody in the police department, wouldn't you? Answer. Yes, we are required to do that. Question. As a consequence of this conversation with this child about this horsey game, did you suggest that he might be stupid or chicken? Answer. If you're referring again to my talking to the puppets, I describe that every way I know how. Question. You said, all right, Mr. Alligator, are you going to be stupid? And then you introduced in your words, not his, the naked movie star game, correct? Answer. Yes. Question. And wasn't that the essence of what you learned from him? That he hadn't seen or heard about this naked movie star game until he heard this song, this chant? Answer. Well, that's what he said in this segment. Question. And your response was that he was dumb? Answer. No, that means you're smart. Question. Wouldn't the inevitable impact of this exchange be that any child would figure out that you're calling him dumb? Answer. It was an attempt to reach out with the puppets to help the child. Question. After he said that he didn't see any naked movie star games, you asked him who took the pictures for that game, correct? Answer. Yes. I asked him who took the pictures of the naked movie star game. Question. When you talked about horsey, you were the one that added the names of those games and descriptions to that interview, weren't you? Answer. No. Some of the children said horsey game. Question. Anyone in this case call it a horsey game before you mentioned it? Answer. I don't recall. Question. How about the tickle game? You were the one who put the word tickle in it, weren't you? Answer. No. Question. Isn't it very easy for you to say that there are lots of unnamed children out there in other interviews without identifying the child? Answer. I did not make up a single game. These all came by children or information I had beforehand. Question. Did you not introduce every one of the games to the child in this interview? Answer. No, of course not. Question. You introduced the naked movie star game, didn't you? Answer. I'm not disputing that I introduced games. If you ask me if I introduced every single game, and I'm saying I referred to the lookout game. Question. Your technique, Miss McFarlane, is to take perfectly innocent games and convert them by the insertion of words like naked and yucky into accusations of crime, isn't it? Answer. No, it's not. Question. Then how do you justify, after the child tells you tug of war, the introduction of the word naked? Answer: I don't think we're talking about the same game. I asked him if any games were played, and he said tug of war. Question: You said in the interview with the child, Mr. Pac-Man, do you remember any naked tie-up games like the other kids remember? And the child answered no. How can you justify inserting the suggestion that there were naked tie-up games when he just told you about tug of war? Answer: I can justify it by dozens of other children who told me they played naked tie-up games, showed me with dolls, and told their parents. And after hearing it from the parents, you'd include it on the tapes, right? And did you make an effort to force this boy to make an accusation of oral copulation on my client in that interview? Answer: Absolutely not. Question: Your sequence in the technique with the boy was to first talk about sex acts and then attempt to have him demonstrate them, correct? Answer: No. The goal was to take it all and show anything significant to the parents. Question: What we saw the boy doing, demonstrating a little doll with its penis in the mouth of another little doll, do you think that had any pornographic effect? The prosecution objected to this question, and the judge sustained. Question: You said to the boy with the anatomical doll, when Ray comes out, what does Ray do? How does something get in that little hole? The boy says, well, nothing gets into that little hole. And you asked, remember when we figured that all out? That's already in the secret machine. And dreamers, Key McFarlane's secret machine is the video camera. And the boy says, oh yeah, let me think. And you asked, remember that? How did that get in there? Let's just show how that happened. That'll be easy. And that can be in the secret machine. All gone. How did it happen? And the boy answered, well, Ray kicked him. Does it seem apparent to you at this time that he is saying that nothing happened to his bottom? Answer: no, it doesn't seem apparent. It seems to me that he's having a hard time with those questions. Question: what you're really trying to do with him was get him to demonstrate sodomy with the dolls so you could show the parents. Wasn't that what you're really doing? Answer: Mr. Davis, I never set out to try to prove to 300 plus parents that I could make them believe by looking at some segment of tape that their children had been molested. I wanted them to see what I saw because they know their children better than I do. So they could know in their own minds whether something happened to their children. Question: do you see yourself as a link in the process that led the children to making these accusations? Answer: I believe that I enabled the children who had not been able to describe the things before they came to see me. My job was to uncork the bottle and see what they had to say once they gotten over the fear. Okay, dreamers. At this point, it might be a good time to take a look at a couple of the interviews that Key McFarlane conducted with a couple of children. I was able to find excerpts from the preliminary hearings to be able to share with you, so you can get an idea of what this lady's techniques were really like. And like before, I'm going to distinguish each statement by question and answer so we don't get lost. Key starts off the questioning. Mr. Monkey is a little bit chicken, and he can't remember any of the naked games, but we think you can, 'cause we know a naked game that you were around for, 'cause the other kids told us, and it's called The Naked Movie Star. Do you remember that game, Mr. Alligator? Or is your memory just too bad? Answer: I don't remember that game. Question: oh, Mr. Alligator. Answer: well, it's, a little song that me and my friend heard of. Oh? Well, I heard aloud someone singing, Naked Movie Star, Naked Movie Star. Question: You know that, Mr. Alligator? That means you're smart. 'Cause that's the same song the other kids knew, and that's how we really know that you're smarter than you look. So you better not play dumb, Mr. Alligator. Answer: Well, I didn't really hear a whole lot. I just heard someone yell it from outside. Someone yelled it. Question: Maybe, Mr. Alligator, maybe you peeked in the window one day and saw them playing it, and maybe you could remember and help us? Answer: Well, no, I haven't seen anyone playing the Naked Movie Star. I've only heard the song. Question: Well, what good are you? You must be dumb. Answer: Well, I don't really know. Remember seeing anyone play that 'cause I wasn't there when people are playing it. Question: You weren't? You weren't? That's why we were hoping maybe you saw. See, a lot of these puppets weren't there, but they got to see what happened anyway. Answer: Well, I saw a lot of fighting. Question: Well, I bet you can help us a lot though, 'cause the Naked Movie Star is a simple game, because we know all about that game, 'cause we just have had 20 kids tell us all about it. Just this morning, a little girl came in and played it for us and sang it just like that. Do you think if I asked you a question, you could put your thinking cap on and you might remember, Mr. Alligator? Answer: Maybe. Question: You could nod your head yes or no. Can you remember who took the pictures for the Naked Movie Star game? That would be a great thing to feed into the secret machine. And then it would just be all gone, just like the other kids did. You can just nod, whether or not you remember. Let me see how good your memory is. At this point, the boy takes the head of the puppet and nods yes. Question: You do? Well, that's remarkable. I wonder if you could hold a pointer in your mouth, Mr. Alligator, and then you wouldn't have to say a word. And you wouldn't have to say a word either. You could just point. At this point on the videotape, the boy places a pretend camera on an adult male nude doll using the alligator puppet and said, "Sometimes he did." Question: Can I pat you on the head for that? Look what big help you can be. You're going to help all these little children because you're so smart. Okay. Did they ever pose in funny poses for the pictures? Answer: Well, it wasn't a real camera. We just played. Question: Mr. Alligator, I'm going to ask you something here. Now, we already found out from the other kids that it was a real camera, so you don't have to pretend, okay? Is that a deal? Answer: Yes, it was a play camera that we played with. Question: Oh, and it went flash? Answer: Well, it didn't exactly go flash. Question: It didn't exactly go flash? Did it go click? Did little pictures go zip and come out of it? Answer: I don't remember that. Question: Oh, you don't remember that. Well, you're doing pretty good, Mr. Alligator. I've got to shake your hand. Okay, so that was really uncomfortable, wasn't it? Well, I have some excerpts from another interview that Key McFarland conducted with another child. And it's pretty cringy too, but I think it's really important to get an idea of what these children went through and how they came up with all of the hundreds and hundreds of charges that they had against the teachers of the McMartin Preschool. In this interview, the boy is holding a Pac-Man puppet on his hand. Question. Here's a hard question. I don't know if you know the answer to it. We'll see how smart you are, Pac-Man. Did you ever see anything come out of Mr. Ray's wiener? Do you remember that? The child had no answer. Question. Can you remember that far back? We'll see how good your brain is working today, Pac-Man. The boy just sort of moves the puppet around, fidgeting with it. Question. Is that a yes? At this point, the child nods the puppet to indicate yes. Question. Well, you're smart. Now let's see if we can figure out what it was. I wonder if you can point to something of what color it was. The child attempted to pick up the pointer with the Pac-Man's puppet mouth. McFarlane offers to help him put the pointer into the Pac-Man puppet's mouth that the child is holding. And he says, "It was," and his voice trails off. Question. Let's see what color that is. And the child, using the Pac-Man's hand to point to the Pac-Man puppet. Ooh, you're pointing to yourself. That must be yellow. And the child nods the puppet's head yes. Question. You're so smart to point to yourself. What did it feel like? Was it like water or something else? Answer. What? Question. The stuff that came out. Here, let me try. Let me try a different question on you. We'll try to figure out what that stuff tastes like. We're going to try and figure out if it tastes good. Answer. He never did that to me, I don't think. Question. Oh, well, Pac-Man, would you know what it tastes like? Would you think it tastes like candy? Sort of? Answer. I think it would taste like yucky ants. Question. Yucky ants? Whoa, that would be kind of yucky. I don't think it would taste like... You don't think it would taste like strawberries or anything good? Answer. No. Question. Oh, so do you think that it would be like sticky yucky ants? Answer. A little. I'm so sorry that was so gross. And that was only a small sample of what went on all those months at Children's Institute International under the leadership of Key McFarlane, spearheading the entire interview process for more than 400 young children, and approximately 360 of them would end up saying that they were abused in some way, shape, or form at the McMartin Preschool. Slowly, more and more people were beginning to see that the charges against the teachers really had no solid foundation. You have to be asking yourselves, if these allegations of abuse are untrue, then why are these children saying that not only had they been sexually abused at the preschool, but they had also been a part of seemingly satanic rituals involving animal sacrifice and mutilation, and some instances of murder? Dreamers, the answer is very simple and pretty horrifying when you really think about what actually went down. These kids were coached. Would I go so far as to say that they were brainwashed? It feels very extreme to say something like that, doesn't it? I guess it all depends on what we feel the motivations of the ones doing the so-called brainwashing were. Were their hearts in the right place? Were they out there seeking justice for hundreds of defenseless children being victimized by this ring of satanic, ritualistic, devil-worshipping, animal-sacrificing, child-abusing, pornographic manufacturing, sadistic evildoers under the guise of teaching preschool? Or were they themselves swept up in the hysteria, the paranoia, and the panic that spawned from one unbalanced woman's claims of sex abuse beyond the point of what's reasonable and rational? Did they decide that despite what the children were saying that was quite outside the realm of possibility, that there must be some truth that lies between the irrational? That children simply don't make this kind of stuff up? And they finally reached a point, and by they, I mean law enforcement, detectives, the district attorney, the prosecutors, the medical experts, the therapists, Key McFarlane, that they all reached a point where they were in so deep that there was no way they could pull back. It was too late. Too much damage had been done, specifically to every single one of those children who had been coaxed into making accusations of abuse by Children's Institute International. It was too late to turn back. How could they go back? How could they turn around and say, "Oh, my bad. None of this stuff actually happened. So take your now permanently damaged children back home and carry on"? They were the experts, so they couldn't undermine themselves and roll back everything that they'd done, no matter what. So the trial trudged on. But before I get back to the trial testimony, I have an interesting little side scandal I wanted to tell you about first. Remember at the end of part 1, we talked about Wayne Satz of KABC, who first broke the story during Sweeps Month back in February of 1984? Well, guess what, dreamers? Guess who Wayne was having an affair with when he dropped the bombshell about the allegations of molestation at the preschool? If you guessed old Key McFarlane, you'd be correct. Yep, he got the inside scoop straight from the person who should have kept her work strictly confidential. Their affair came up in court. The defense wanted it to be known that these two were not only romantically involved, but they were actually furthering each other's careers using the McMartin Preschool case. The defense had suggested that it may have been possible for Wayne to have influenced Key during her interviewing, and along with that, her credibility may come into question if the jury were to find out the two of them were in a relationship. But after listening to Key talk about her relationship to the court outside of the presence of the jury, the judge really wasn't seeing that the relationship had any bearing on the case and didn't think the jury needed to know about it. The defense said that they were going to try and show that Key's motivation in pursuing a relationship with Wayne was to further her career, and this compromises her credibility. But dreamers, how I see it, Key's credibility is already on thin ice. But I just don't know how much people really saw that back in the 80s. Key was adamant that she was not the one who fed any information about the case to Wayne, but she did admit that they did discuss the case. She claims that Wayne had information about the case. Some of it she knew and some of it she didn't know, but his source wasn't her. He was in the courtroom at the time Key was testifying, but he was not allowed to testify himself because of California's news reporter shield laws. In the end, the judge ruled that the jury would not know about the relationship because it would violate Key's privacy. By the time this testimony was going on, their relationship was long over, and she was married to someone else. Wayne had been fired a year prior, and from what I could find, he was fired because he accused KABC of manipulating his ratings or something to that effect. He died in 1992 at the age of 47, and for the life of me, I could not find out what his cause of death was. If any of you sleuthing around can find it, let us know. His name was Wayne Satz, S-A-T-Z. Okay, that's enough gossiping. Let's get back into the trial. I wanted to tell you about the testimony of a couple of the children who took the stand. Some of this material, again, is very graphic, and it's hard to listen to. It's hard to speak these words, but when I really think about it, and the age of these children, and what they were subjected to, I don't think that there could be anything worse than that. These kids had to live this. Whether these allegations they are making on the stand are true, or whether or not they were coached to answer this way, is up to you to decide. A part of me hesitated to even include any of this material, but like I said, they're the ones who lived it. They had to sit in that courtroom full of adults and be made to answer to these questions. So us sitting here 30 years later, listening to me recount their testimony, can't be nearly as difficult as having been there experiencing this. So these are some excerpts from the testimony of two children. The first one was a 12-year-old girl, under direct examination conducted by Lael Rubin, the prosecutor. Question: How old are you today? Answer: 12. Question: Do you live in Manhattan Beach? Answer: Yes. Question: What school do you go to? Answer: American Martyrs. Question: Did you go to the McMartin Preschool? Answer: Yes. Question: You said Ray was at the school. Can you tell us what Ray did? Answer: Kind of a helper. Question: What was his relationship to Peggy? Answer: Ray is Peggy's son. Question: Can you look around and see Ray? Answer: She pointed to and identified Ray Bucky sitting at the defense table. Question: I'd like to talk to you about McMartin Preschool. Did you stay all day or half day? Answer: Sometimes half day, sometimes I'd stay for lunch and a nap. Question: Did you tell your parents you didn't like staying for a nap? Answer: Yes. Question: When you were at the McMartin Preschool, how many rooms did you see? Answer: 4. Question: There's a little yard. Can you tell us what's in the little yard? Answer: Tricycles and things like that. Question: Did you play and you had to take your clothes off? Answer: Yes. Question: What was the name of the game? Answer: The Naked Movie Star. Question: Did someone tell you to take your clothes off? Answer: Yes. Question: Who? Answer: Ray. Question: In what room was Ray in? Answer: Room A, and the child pointed to a diagram of the class. Question: Did somebody say something to you? Answer: Yes. Question: What? Answer: We're going to play the Naked Movie Star. Question: Who was the person that said that? Answer: I'm not sure. Ray or Peggy. Question: And when Ray or Peggy said, "It's time to play the Naked Movie Star," was that in a classroom full of children? Answer: I'm not sure. Question: When Ray said, "We are going to play the Naked Movie Star game," what did you do? Answer: Just stand or something. Question: Did you hear anybody taking any pictures? Answer: Yes, I heard clicking. Question: Did you ever see a person taking pictures? Answer: No, I could see the lens sometimes. Question: Where was the clicking coming from? Answer: The accordion divider. Question: When you played the Naked Movie Star, did Ray or Peggy have their clothes off? Answer: Sometimes. Question: When you finished modeling or posing, did you put your clothes back on? Answer: Yes. Question: What did you do then? Answer: Went back outside and played with the kids. Question: During the naked movie star, did you ever see another adult in the room? Answer: Miss Peggy, Virginia. Question: Where? Answer: In the doorway or room A. Question: How many times did you play the naked movie star game at school? Answer: I don't remember. Question: When you played the naked movie star, was there any music? Answer: I don't remember. Question: Was there any covering on the windows? Answer: Curtains at each end of the window. Question: At any time you played the naked movie star, did anyone have an animal that they showed you? Answer: Yes. He cut a cat and said that if we told anybody, he would do the same to our parents. Question: Was the cat dead when he brought it in? Answer: Yes. Question: When you were at the house where you played the naked movie star, did you get undressed? Answer: Yes. Question: Do you remember when you were going to the McMartin School, waking up in the middle of the night, shaking or having nightmares? Answer: Yes. Question: Do you remember going to the Children's Institute International? Answer: Yes. Question: On March 14th, you went to Children's Institute International and talked to a woman named Shawn. Did she ask you what happened at McMartin? Answer: I told her I didn't know anything. Question: During and right after the naked movie star game, did anybody touch you? Answer: Ray and Peggy. Question: Tell us what Ray did, how he touched you. You said Ray and Peggy touched you. Describe to us what Ray did to you. Did Ray touch you on some part of your body? Tell us as best you can. Answer: He touched my vagina. Question: Did Ray put anything inside your vagina? Answer: Yes. Question: One time or more than one time? Answer: I don't remember. Question: Did Peggy touch you in the same part of your body? Answer: Yes. Question: Outside or inside? Answer: Outside. Question: One or more times? Answer: I don't remember. Question: You remember one time, right? Answer: Yes. Question: You're not sure? Answer: No. Question: When Ray touched you with his finger in your vagina, were his clothes on or off? Answer: Off. Question: When Peggy touched your vagina with her finger, were her clothes on or off? Answer: Off. Question: Can you tell us when was the first time you told anybody that Ray and Peggy touched you? Answer: July 3rd of this year. Question: Before you told your mom in July, did you tell anyone else? Answer: Sometime before July 3rd, I tried to tell somebody. Question: Who? Answer: You. Question: Why didn't you tell me? Answer: I was embarrassed and started to cry. Question: Any reason you just told your mom about Ray and Peggy touching your vagina? Answer: I couldn't even admit it to myself. At that point, the prosecutor rested, had no further questions. Next was the cross-examination conducted by Defense Attorney Dean Getz. Question: I'd like to ask you some questions. If they seem too hard, stop me. When you went to the McMartin Preschool, you went for about 3 years, is that correct? Answer: Yes. Question: And in what grade are you in? Answer: 6th grade. Question: And as you think about it now, can you remember how long you were in class? Answer: About 45 minutes. Question. What happened when your mom and dad picked you up? Answer. They just came to the gate. Question. Where would you be? Answer. Outside in the yard. Question. If you were to have a look at that, do you remember whether that picture was taken during your second year at the school? And at this point, the attorney showed her a picture. Answer. Yes. Question. You said Miss Lowe taught in room B, right? Answer. Yes. Question. When the Naked Movie Star game was played, was Miss Peggy your teacher? Answer. Yes. Question. When you started at the preschool, Miss Lowe was your teacher, right? Answer. Yes. Question. And in the third year, was Miss Peggy your teacher? Answer. Yes. Question. You talk about going to see Sean at the Children's Institute International. Do you think your memory is better today than when you went to Children's Institute? Answer. I don't know. Question. Do you think your memory was better with Sean at Children's Institute than at the preliminary hearing? Answer. Well, it wasn't a better memory. Question. Do you think your memory is better today? Answer. Yes. Question. Why? Answer. Because I've thought about it. Question. Going back to McMartin, were you afraid? Answer. Sometimes. Question. You talked about the Naked Movie Star game. Did that happen in the morning? Answer. I'm not sure. Question. Before noon? Answer. Yes. Question. So it was not nap time? Answer. No. Question. You told us that you were not sure how many times you played the Naked Movie Star game. What would be your best ballpark figure? Answer. I don't want to say because I'm not sure. Question. Can you tell us when it was you were afraid to go to school? Answer. A couple of months after something happened at school. Question. You talked about times you stayed during nap time. Did anything bad happen at nap time? Answer. Yes. That's when I went to the house. Question. Did you ever go to the house in the morning? Answer. I don't remember. Question. When you talked about the time you were taken to the house during nap time, did that happen more than one time? Answer. Yes. Question. Do you remember how many grown-ups were there? Answer. No. Question. Did you take your clothes off and put them in a pile? Answer. Yes. Question. Did Peggy have her clothes off? Answer. No. Question. Was she touching anybody? Answer. No. Question. Did Ray take his clothes off? Answer. Yes. Question. Did he touch anybody? Answer. I don't know. He didn't touch me. Question. You said Ray brought in a cat and it was dead. Answer. Yes. Question. Was that the first time you played the Naked Movie Star game? Answer. Yes. Question. Do you remember you played the second time at the school? Answer. No. Question. So you eventually forgot what happened at the preschool? Answer. Until I went and saw Sean, I put it back in my mind. Question. You had friends at the American Martyrs who went to Children's Institute International? Answer. Yes. Question. And they told you about yucky secrets? Answer. Yes. Question. You told your parents you didn't remember anything bad happened at the preschool, and one time they offered to take you to Children's Institute International, and you said there was no need to because nothing happened. Answer. Maybe. I don't remember. Question. Did you tell anybody in the world about this before Children's Institute International? Answer: I don't know. Question: some of your best friends and classmates had been to Children's Institute International. Answer: yes. Question: did you tell your parents you had something bad happen to you at the school? Answer: yes. Question: did you believe something bad happened at McMartin? You got a sense of that from your parents and Children's Institute? Answer: yes. Question: you had sensed that something bad had happened at McMartin, but you couldn't remember until Sean told you about the naked movie star. Answer: yes. Question: were you told that this was being videotaped? Answer: after we were done, my parents came in. We looked at the tape, and they talked while I was out of the room. Question: do you remember Sean telling your parents you were molested at the preschool? Answer: I'm not sure she said that because I wasn't there. Question: you were shown portions of the videotape? Did you see bits and pieces? Answer: yes. Question: did Key tell you that Ray had threatened children? Answer: I don't remember. Question: do you remember testifying at the preliminary hearing that Key told you Ray forced children to play the naked movie star game? Answer: I don't remember. Question: and you told Cheryl Kent, right? Answer: yes. Question: do you remember Deputy District Attorney Christine Johnson? Answer: yes. Question: how many times did you talk to Christine Johnson about the case? Answer: I don't know. A lot. Question: after the preliminary hearing, you talked to Lyle Rubin 6 or 7 times about the case? Answer: yes. Her and Roger came to see me. Question: 6 or 7 times? Answer: yes. Question: was Gusty Bell with her each time? Answer: yes. Question: all the times you were talking about the case, were they taking notes? Answer: yes. Question: did the talks with them get longer and longer? Answer: they were usually close to an hour, and then they got longer. Question: did Lyle Rubin give you transcripts of the preliminary hearings? Answer: yes. Question: do you remember telling at the preliminary hearings that somebody gave the kids a pink medicine? Answer: no. Question: today you are not sure you were given any medicine by the teachers at the school? Answer: I didn't want to tell something that I was not sure. Question: do you think your memory about the naked movie star game was better at the preliminary hearing than today? Answer: no, my memory is about the same on that issue. Question: are you aware of the song, The Naked Movie Star? Answer: yes. Question: did you ever hear that at the preschool? Answer: I'm not sure. Question: do you remember testifying at the preliminary hearing that you don't remember in what room you played the naked movie star game in? Answer: I don't know. Question: do you remember telling at the preliminary hearing that somebody gave the kids a pink medicine? Answer: no. Question: do you remember testifying that the naked movie star game was played in Miss Lowe's class? Answer: I don't remember. Question: why is it today that you say you weren't in Miss Lowe's class? Answer: I thought a lot about what happened. Question: do you remember telling us at the preliminary hearing that the cat was not cut until about 4 months after you played the movie star game? Answer: I don't remember. Question: did Lyle Rubin or Gusty say it's rather strange that the cat was cut 4 months later? Answer: I don't know. Question: if you can, tell us why you're sure now that the cat was cut the first time you played the naked movie star game. Do you feel that the cat was cut the first time you played the naked movie star game? Answer: I'm positive. Question: was your testimony wrong in the preliminary hearing? Answer: I thought about it. Question: Did you ever see any one of the teachers give you shots at the school? Answer, I don't remember. And dreamers, this testimony carried on over into the next day. Question, did you talk yesterday about nightmares at the time you were going to the preschool? Answer, yes. Question, do you recall what they were about? Answer, dragons, alligators. I was afraid to get up and go to the bathroom, so I wet my bed. Question, did you have any redness or soreness in the vaginal area? Answer, I don't remember. Question, did the district attorney ever show you a transcript of the videotape at Children's Institute? Answer, yes. Question, did they read you portions of it? Answer, yes, last week. Question, did Lyle and Gusty do that? Answer, yes. Question, did Lyle come to visit you Saturday? Answer, yes. Question, for how long? Answer, 2 hours, sometimes longer. Question, what do you think was the longest? Answer, 4 hours. Question, did she go over what you were going to testify in this case? Answer, she went over her outline. Question, you told us the Naked Movie Star game was played before lunch, right? Answer, yes. Question, when it was all over, was the recess still going on? Answer, yes. Question, I think you told us that the Naked Movie Star game was played during recess. Answer, yes. Question, was Peggy in the room when Ray came in and announced the Naked Movie Star game? Answer, I'm pretty sure she was inside. Question, was anyone else there? Answer, I don't remember. Question, is there any one child you can recall now that was present when you played the Naked Movie Star game? Answer, no. Question, going back to your first year at the preschool, was Ray there in Miss Lowe's class? Answer, I don't remember. Question, do you remember testifying in the preliminary hearing that Ray was in Miss Lowe's class? Answer, I don't remember. Question, did anybody tell you that Ray was not at the school when you were there in Mary Ann's class? Answer, I don't remember. Question, was there any music during the Naked Movie Star game? Answer, I don't remember. Question, you said when you went to the house you were walking around in a circle holding hands. Answer, I'm not sure. Question, would you stop and pose or keep walking? Answer, I'm not sure. Question, after the curtains were put up, was it dark? Answer, yes. Question, did you see a flash from a camera? Answer, I don't remember. Question, did children cry during the Naked Movie Star game? Answer, no. Question, when you were touched by Ray, did you cry? Answer, I don't remember. Question, was the recess still going on? Answer, yes. Question, did any of the other kids come in? Answer, I don't remember. Question, when Ray came in with the dead cat, did he have the cat in a bag or a box? Answer, it was like a mashed paper bag with a cat on top. Question, did he cut it first or did he say something first? Answer, I don't remember. Question, did blood go all over? Answer, just on the paper. Question, do you remember telling us at the preliminary hearing that blood got all over? Answer, yes. Question, do you think your memory is better now than at the preliminary hearing? Answer, maybe. Question, was there a lot of blood that came out of that cat? Answer, yes. Question, and did Ray say this would happen to your parents if you told? Answer, yes. Question, up until Ray cut the cat, were you horrified? Answer, not really. Question, so it was Ray cutting the cat that really made you afraid? Answer, yes. Question, did you get sick and throw up? Answer, I don't remember. Question, going back to the school, do you remember Miss Betty? Answer, yes. Question, was she your teacher during your last year there? Answer, yes. Question, was she there at nap time? Answer, I don't remember. Question, you told us after the morning session, a lot of moms came and picked up their children, and other children stayed during nap time. Answer, yes. Question, were the teachers in A and B rooms watching the kids? Answer, yes. Question, did they tell you they were taking you to a house? Answer, no. Question, did they say, come with us? Answer, yes. Question, who did? Answer, Ray or Peggy. Question, when Key talked to you at Children's Institute, did she tell you Ray touched children in their private parts? Answer, I don't remember. Question, do you recall being taken to the house where the Naked Movie Star game was played in the morning? Answer, yes. Question, then Ray said, come with me? Answer, no, it was recess. Question, do you know who was watching Peggy's kids while Peggy was at the house playing Naked Movie Star? Answer, it wasn't recess and the other teachers were watching them. Next up, the cross-examination continued with the other defense attorney for Ray, Daniel Davis. Question, it's been a little over 2 years. Has anything come to mind? If you think of anything you didn't say, please tell us now so we can get to the final truth about this. Do you think there's anything that you haven't told us? Answer, not right now. Question, back in the preliminary hearing, you said, I think and kind of. Does that mean you're not sure? Answer, yes. Question, did you learn that Bob Curie told your dad that children were molested at the McMartin Preschool? Answer, no. Question, when you went to Children's Institute, did you have a feeling that something might have happened to you? Answer, yes, sort of. Question, but you said, Dad, it didn't happen to me? Answer, I don't know. Question, by the time you talked to Key, you had a strong feeling that Ray had been molesting children? Answer, yes. Question, when you went to the preschool, you had a good time, right? Answer, yes. Question, from what you saw at American Martyrs, did everybody say that there was an investigation going on at the preschool? Answer, yes. Question, that was the hot topic, right? That was a thing you heard people talking about. Answer, yes. Question, did you ever see Ray Bucky's picture on TV? Answer, yes. It seemed like every day and what was going on. Question, you told Sean about a lot of naked games, and now at the trial, only one naked game. Did you believe when you told Sean that there were other naked games? Answer, I don't remember. Question, the house you talked about in the interview with Sean, was it brown? Answer, yes. Question, but you didn't say brown. Do you recall saying brown? Answer, not really. Question, I want to get to the people you had discussions with before the preliminary hearing. Christine Johnson, you had 3 meetings with her before the preliminary hearing, and you talked about statements on the videotape? Answer, something or the other. Question, didn't you do questions and answers you would be testifying in the preliminary hearing? Answer, yes. Question, and you were preparing for your testimony so you would know what to say. Didn't you prepare so you would know what to say in court? Answer, I don't know. It was more like I knew what was going on. Question. Did you do the same with Lyle Rubin? Answer. She asked me things I wasn't too sure about. She said names, and I didn't even know who the person was. Question. Did you go over questions and answers for the trial? Answer. Yes. Question. Sean told you all the other kids were molested? Answer. Yes. Question. Did you know Lyle Rubin during the preliminary hearing? Answer. I'm not sure. Question. Did you come to know her better when you came to the meeting with her to prepare for trial? Answer. Yes, I met Roger too. Question. You read the notebook. Did you ever discuss the notebook with your parents? Answer. We read transcripts from the preliminary hearing. Question. You opened your notebook and Lyle opened hers. Answer. Well, she would just if there was a hard answer, how to answer. Question. So she would say, answer like that and it would be okay? Answer. Yes. Question. I have some pictures here. Take a little time. And he proceeds to show the child some pictures. Do you still have the feeling that a child could fit into a cupboard like that? Answer. No. Question. Do you remember anything bad that happened in the bathrooms at the school? Answer. I don't remember. Question. Did you ever tell one person that the house you were taken to was one of the teachers' houses? Answer. I don't remember. Question. Do you remember anything about the house? Answer. There were wooden animals. The mailbox is like an animal. Question. You've been to Peggy's house many times. You know there are wooden animals there? Answer. I was talking to Lyle. She brought me pictures and showed it to me. Question. So today, you don't know whether the house was Peggy's house? Answer. No. Key said it was Peggy's house. Question. Do you remember you said that it was a white house when you talked to the police department? Answer. No, I don't remember. Question. Do you remember anything that happened at the White House? Answer. No. Question. Do you know the name of any other child that was with you when the cat was killed? Answer. No, I don't remember. Question. Do you know the name of one single child who was present when you were touched? Answer. No. Question. Do you remember one child who was present when you played the Naked Movie Star game? Answer. No. Question. When you say you were taken to Peggy's house, is that a guess? Answer. No. Keith said it. Question. At the preliminary hearing, you said that the cat was cut 4 months after the Naked Movie Star game was played the first time. Today, you said it was cut the same day. Is this something you were telling Lyle Rubin? Did she tell you that it didn't make sense for you to say 4 months and not be frightened about it and not tell your parents? Can you tell me anything that you can contribute to the change that you haven't thought about? Answer. No. Question. You described touching and changed your testimony. Is that correct? Answer. Yes. Question. What caused you to change? Answer. I'm not sure what happened. Question. You testified of a grown-up that drugged little boys and girls. That's a very serious thing. Answer. Yes. Question. And you were saying that? Answer. It was the truth to me at the time. Question. When the truth came to you, what happened? Answer. I just saw Pepto-Bismol in the refrigerator. Question. In the preliminary hearing testimony, you told Dr. Hager cats, turtles, and rabbits were cut up. Answer. Not that I remember. Question. Did you ever see anything like that? Answer. Not turtles and rabbits. Question. Did Sean tell you that 110 children had already been interviewed at Children's Institute and every one of them had something happen to them at the preschool? Did she tell you that? Answer: yes. I don't think she would lie to me. Question: when the police were following Ray around, did that make you think Ray Bucky did bad things? Answer: I don't know. Question: when you talked to Sean at Children's Institute, you said you were touched on the vagina by teachers at the school. Answer: yes. Question: did it hurt? Answer: not specifically. Question: is it true today that it did hurt? Answer: yes. Question: are both of these statements true? Answer: I don't know. What is the question? Question: two answers being true. Did you bleed? Answer: no. Question: do you feel your memory was better when you talked to Sean at the preliminary hearing? Answer: I don't know. Question: did teachers actually touch private parts of children? Answer: I don't know. Question: did you ever see Ray Bucky touch children? Answer: no. Question: what part of his body did he touch you with? Answer: his fingers. At this point in time, the judge interjected and asked two questions of his own. In what position was his body and your body? Standing, sitting, or laying down? Answer: I don't remember. And this is the last part of the testimony I told you about earlier. Defense attorney Getz asked the child, when you got the transcripts from Lyle, did she tell you how to answer the questions with the tabs? What were the tabs for? Answer: they pointed out some things like smart answers. Question: tabs to look and understand smart answers at the preliminary hearing? Answer: yes. Question: Lyle Rubin gave you some smart answers? Answer: we went through the answers and looked at them. Question: was Lyle Rubin going over the transcript, telling you how to answer? Answer: sort of. So, dreamers, what do you guys make of the testimony of this child? For me, it was uncomfortable to read. I can't imagine what it was like for this child to have to sit through that in a courtroom. I understand the need for the prosecutor, Lyle Rubin, to go over the case with the child beforehand, just to make sure the child is comfortable and knows what to expect. That's totally a thing that happens, but it sounds like a bit of coaching and cherry picking of answers, and the tough questions were often answered with I don't knows and I don't remembers. Whatever the case, I tend to take the testimony of the children with a grain of salt. I can't help but feel that the real, most authentic answers came from the children within the first minutes of having been interviewed with Children's Institute therapists. Once they were able to use their puppets to manipulate children into bending their answers, it ended up bending their memories. I can't say that with 100% certainty if these children were ever victims of sexual abuse or not. They may very well have been at some point in their young lives, and maybe this is where they've been able to assign that experience and feel validated about it. It's so hard to say because, sadly, these children's memories had most likely been tainted beyond the point of ever being able to uncover the actual truth. Unless sometime in the future these children, who grew into adults, were able to reflect back upon exactly what went down and are actually able to provide for us their real experiences, which is a thing that happened, and we will visit one man who was able to do that later on in our story. For now, let's take a look at an excerpt of the testimony of another child witness who took the stand at the McMartin trial, this time an 11-year-old boy, starting with a direct examination by prosecutor Lyle Rubin. Question: did Ray put anything in your mouth? Answer: yes. Question: Which part? Answer, his penis. Question, in a classroom? Answer, I don't know. Question, do you remember seeing Miss Peggy without clothes on? Answer, yes. I looked in the window. She had her bra on. I don't want to get too much into the direct testimony because it's pretty much a carbon copy of the previous child, but I do want to get more into the cross-examination. This is where the child purportedly saw more instances of animal abuse. Question, did you see a horse get killed? Answer, yeah. Question, was it a full-grown horse? Answer, yes. Question, do you know what color it was? Answer, I don't know. Question, how did the horse get killed? Answer, Ray hit it with a bat. Question, where? Answer, I don't remember. Question, did they ride the horse before it got killed? Answer, I don't know. Question, were other kids there when the horse got killed? Answer, I don't know. Question, who was your teacher when Ray killed the horse with the bat? Answer, I don't know. Question, who was your first teacher at McMartin? Answer, I don't know. Question, before today, you had a meeting at your home? Answer, yeah. Question, did you go over your questions with Lyle Rubin? Answer, yeah. Question, some of the answers you gave, you talked about with Miss Rubin? Answer, yes. Question, did you practice the names of the teachers? Answer, yes. Question, was your mom practicing with you? Answer, yes. Question, did you practice with Lyle? Answer, yes. Question, did you have other meetings with Lyle? Answer, yes. Question, you remember how far from the horse you were when it got killed? Answer, no. Question, did the horse make a sound? Answer, I don't know. Question, was the horse standing? Answer, lying down. Question, how many times did he hit the horse? Answer, I don't know. Question, did the horse jump around? Answer, I don't know. Question, was there a grown-up there when it happened? Answer, I don't know. Question, how did Ray touch you? Answer, with his finger. Question, did he touch you with his wiener? Answer, yes. Question, did Lyle Rubin practice your testimony with you? Answer, no. Question, did anybody practice your testimony before the trial? Answer, no. Question, last Friday, Lyle was at your house showing you pictures? Answer, yes. Question, did you practice question and answers? Answer, yes. Question, was there a time when you forgot about the molestation? Answer, I forgot everything. Question, did grown-ups help you remember? Answer, Lyle. Question, were there other grown-ups that helped you remember? Answer, yes. Question, how about the puppet lady? Did she help you remember? Answer, yes. Question, would it be fair to say that you didn't remember anything about the molestation? Answer, yes. Question, did your mother tell you that you were molested at the preschool? Answer, yes. Question, did she tell you that other children were molested at the school? Answer, yes. Question, did you believe her? Answer, yes. Question, do you remember some 20 adults told you what happened? Answer, yes. Question, does the word bra mean underwear to you? Answer, no. Question, what is underwear to you? Answer, I don't know. Question. Did you play naked games outside? Answer. I don't know. Question. Do you remember talking about the tickle game with Lyle Rubin while preparing your answers? Answer. Yes. Question. In the tickle game, were you touched on your private parts? Answer. Yes. Question. Were you touched in the dirt? Answer. I don't remember. Question. Do you remember what position you were in when Ray touched you? Answer. I don't know. Question. Do you remember what he did with his hands? Answer. Yes, he touched me with his hands. Question. Could you describe how he did that? Answer. No. Question. Do you remember any hand touching your penis today? Answer. No. Question. Did you practice with the lady district attorney? Answer. I don't know. Question. When you went to the preschool, Ray wasn't a teacher, was he? Answer. I don't think so. Question. Did you see Ray during your first year at the preschool? Answer. I don't know. Question. Your second year? Answer. I don't know. Question. During your third year? Answer. I don't know. Question. Do you think when you talked to the puppet lady that you were guessing answers? Answer. I don't know. Question. Back when she asked you about the tickle game, do you remember saying that Ray didn't touch you? Answer. No. At this point, the defense attorney read back a part of the transcript that I went over with you earlier of this child's interview with Key McFarlane. Key starts off asking, was the game sort of a tricky game? Answer. I don't think Ray did anything. Question. Pac-Man is glad to remember tricky games. Answer. Not of me. Question. Of other kids? Answer. I never saw that. Ray never touched me. Question. Oh, Pac-Man knows all the secrets. Answer. I don't know any secrets. Question. We all know the sneaky game. And on the video, Key is seen picking up the puppet and placing it on top of another doll. Can you show me the sneaky place? And then Key points to the doll's abdomen. How yucky. Any place real sneaky? Someplace private? Answer. Maybe the wiener? Question. Look how well you remember. You've done such a good job, haven't you? The defense attorney resumes his questioning of the boy, and this is going to be very explicit and uncomfortable if it already hasn't been. But remember, he's asking these questions of an 11-year-old boy. Question. Did you see Ray's penis? Answer. I don't know. Question. Did anybody pee in your mouth? Answer. I don't know. Question. Did Ray put his penis in your mouth? Answer. Yes. Question. Did it happen more than once? Answer. I just have one picture. I see Ray. Question. What is Ray doing? Answer. He is sticking his penis up me. Question. Did you have your clothing on? Answer. I don't know. Question. Did he say anything? Answer. I don't know. Question. When Ray did this, was it hard like a stick or limp? Answer. I don't know. Question. Have you seen a hard penis? Answer. I don't know. The attorney goes back and refers to another section of the boy's interview at Children's Institute. Key asks the boy, did anybody put something yucky in your mouth? The boy stays quiet and has no response. Question. Can you remember? Answer. I'm not sure. Question. How about a finger in your hole? Answer: yes. Question: Boy, I bet. We'll see how smart you are. Did anything come out of Ray's wiener? The boy again had no response. Question: What did the stuff taste like? Answer: He never did that. The defense attorney finished up his questioning, asking, You knew Ray Bucky had been accused of doing things, didn't you? Answer: I don't know. Question: Did the puppet lady help you remember that you were molested? Answer: I think so. Question: Do you believe Ray Bucky put his penis inside your bottom? Answer: I don't know. And that was the end of his testimony. As a juror, what would you make of the testimony of this child? I would love to hear your opinions. Are there little nuggets of truth in the testimony? Where the children seem to affirm the two main accusations surrounding Ray and Peggy. One, that they were in one way or another touched or molested by the two of them. And two, that there was some sort of killing of an animal, namely a cat and a horse. It would certainly be concerning to hear such things come out of the mouth of a child. But we would have to decide, are those truly recollections of actual things that happened to them? Or are those things that were placed there by adults, injecting false memories by repeated tellings and retellings of these terrible things having happened to them, to the point that there is no other choice but for it to have become a part of their reality? And when pressed for details over and over again, the children are unable to expand? Do you think it seems that they were kind of coached to affirm the fact that the molestation took place, affirm the fact that the animals were killed, but other details to remember aren't important, as to not get tripped up in the weeds? Just answer, I don't know, or I don't remember. Because essentially, that's the truth, because it never happened. That's my inclination. If a child can sit here and tell they saw a horse being beaten with a bat, a memory like that being etched into their brain, surely the child could remember, at the very least, the color of the horse. There aren't a whole lot of variations of colors of horses. Brown, black, white, tan. And then I'd have to go with my common sense as a juror. Did a horse really get killed with a bat at the preschool? And nobody took notice? And wouldn't the horse have bucked or attempted to flee and make some pretty loud noises? And then how did Ray single-handedly dispose of the horse that he purportedly beat to death? If he chopped it up and got rid of it, wouldn't that be kind of an enormous task? Wouldn't there be some evidence of that found on the property? I mean, honestly, these are far too many questions to be asking ourselves, as I think any of us would be hard-pressed to believe a horse was beaten to death in front of children at a preschool undisposed of and have gone completely undetected. And no, I don't believe Ray cut a cat with a knife to threaten children to stay quiet. I don't think every single child in a classroom could witness something like that and not one of them go and mention it to their mothers or fathers. Dreamers, these are things that just don't make sense. Preschools are wide open places. Children aren't kept behind closed doors and out of view of the public. Anyone can walk in any time to peer into classrooms. Parents can come and go at any point in the day. The yard is visible from the streets and the parking lots. And if there are closets, and I've never worked in a school with a closet, but if there were closets, I'm pretty sure they would be completely full of teaching supplies, books, toys, arts and crafts. And if you've ever been a teacher at any level, you've probably been obsessed over having your room full of these things too. So it's just going to have to come down to what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. But it is not lost on me the things that these kids said that Ray did. That's really tough to look past. So during the prosecution's presentation to the court, they put up their medical experts. Dr. Astrid Hager, one by one, confirmed her findings of sexual abuse, as did expert witness Bruce Woodling. And it's pretty straightforward, making the case for abuse. But I wanted to go over some of his cross-examination by the defense. Question: to your knowledge, has any such study using blind comparisons without suggestion as to whether a particular photograph depicted a child who had or had not been molested ever been attempted? Answer: no. Question: what are the necessary ingredients for rendering a component opinion about sexual abuse in a child? Answer: I have established for myself as a criterion that I will have a database, I will have a history, and I will have photographs if I don't have the child. Question: isn't it true that every human being is unique and no two are exactly the same? Answer: yes. Question: as a result of providing testimony on behalf of the prosecutors, how were you paid? Answer: through district attorney's funds. Question: at what amount? Answer: my time is $2,500 a day. Question: you were compensated for examining the McMartin children in 1984? Answer: I was. Question: what was your rate of compensation? Answer: $250 per examination. Conducting the examinations, meeting with Dr. Hager and Key McFarland, discussing the cases, and preparing the reports. Question: doctor, have you seen children who may have been molested and found that there were absolutely no physical symptoms of molestation? Answer: I have seen cases where there were no physical findings. Question: and have you ever found, after seeing a child suspected of being molested with no symptoms at all, and found that the child was molested, you look at the child and found that there was absolutely nothing wrong, and you determined that that child was molested? Answer: as a physician who examines children for being victims of sexual abuse, what I do is collect a history, which may include an allegation and the name of the perpetrator. Question: in a court, you have actually articulated your opinion that both children were molested, haven't you? Answer: I did. Question: now, in your own view, that's an incompetent finding for a doctor, isn't it? Answer: no. Question: wasn't it true that it was ultimately a legal decision? The prosecution objected, and the judge sustained. Question: have you ever, without any physical finding, stated under oath that, in your opinion, the child was molested? Answer: I'm certain that in cases where there are no findings of molestation that I have testified in the past, is the lack of a physical finding does not preclude that the child was in fact either sodomized, fondled, or involved in an act of vulvar coitus. Question: have you ever testified, when there were no physical findings, that in your opinion there was no evidence of molestation? Answer: I've never used that word. Question: have you ever, in a court of law, testified, in your opinion, a child was not molested? Answer: I don't believe I ever testified about children being molested. I talk about trauma consistent with digital manipulation, penile genital contact, or an act of sodomy. The fact that a physical injury is not present does not preclude that a certain act may not have occurred. Question: now, when you talk to the child, whose name is redacted but testified in court, did you find any physical evidence on her anus consistent with sodomy by a penis? Answer: I saw no evidence of trauma to her perianal area whatsoever, but certainly the lack of the signs of trauma do not preclude a finger or other object entering her rectum. Question: did you see anything today that would affirm that a finger was put into her anus? Answer: I saw nothing. Question: now, doctor, as a teacher and a lecturer, you have advised other physicians that their testimony should never include statements that there is no finding of sexual molestation. Answer: I usually teach them. One of the points that I teach them is when doing examinations as physicians, we are examining children where a report is generated to be used by other persons in arriving at a determination. And I suggest to all of the physicians that they should never use as a part of their diagnosis that a child was not raped, or not molested, rather. Question: is it possible that a leading question might produce a false answer from a child? Answer: a leading question might produce a directed answer. I have never been involved in a case where interviewers influenced children to say that they were molested when in fact they were not. That has not been my experience. Question: in evaluating these children, did you hold the conviction that children do not lie about molestation? The prosecution objected, and the judge sustained. Question: do you feel that your belief that children do not lie about molestation may have influenced your opinion about this child whose name is redacted? Answer: no, I do not. Question: you profess that belief, don't you? The prosecution objected, and the judge sustained. Question: do you believe that when children are being asked about molestation and say nothing happened, that can be a truthful statement? Answer: it is my belief that sometimes children will say nothing happened because they have a great deal of difficulty talking about the issue, and I believe a history is sometimes difficult to obtain. Question: can a child in your experience tell that he was molested and be telling the truth? Answer: certainly. Question: let's take the child who says he hasn't been molested, and then 3 or 4 months later says that he was raped and sodomized. Can both of these statements be truthful? Answer: I think that in my experience, children don't give false reportings. And I know of a great many children who have had a great deal of difficulty in making a disclosure. Question: do you think it's possible for an adult to influence a child to believe that they were molested when in fact they weren't? Answer: that has never been my experience, and it is not my belief. I have never been involved in a case where I felt interviewers influenced children who were not molested to say, in fact, that they were. Question: did you look at the Children's Institute interviews of the McMartin children? Answer: I did not. Question: if a child makes serious allegations of rape and sodomy, and then time passes, and then the child says instead of a penis going into a vagina, says it was a pencil, she changes the facts. In these circumstances, would you consider the history to be believable in terms of a molesting? Would that give you any concern about the accuracy and reliability of the child? Answer: no. Question: if she told you, when you examined her, that it was a pencil, and years later said it was a penis, would you change your opinion about what happened? Answer: no. Question: I'd like to talk to you about false reports. By your definition, would that include a situation where a child might say that he or she was sodomized and then later on say that it didn't happen? Is that a false report by your definition? Answer: that would be a false report, but I have never seen an allegation of something where it was proved that it did not in fact happen. I'm aware of children retracting allegations, but that's a part of the process of understanding the psychological dynamic of making disclosures. Question: so your view of a child who retracts an allegation of molestation is not a child that is engaged in false reporting? Answer: I would not conclude by retraction that a false report was made. Question: do you believe that a child can believe that they were molested because of the statements of adults? Answer: I've never seen a child that, to my knowledge, wasn't molested that's been convinced that he was. I have never had that experience. Question: Did your medical findings corroborate sodomy? Answer: There was no evidence on my examination of scarring, but the fact that I found no findings, in the sense of scarring, does not mean that a sodomy did not occur, only that no scarring occurred from the sodomy. Question: Do you feel, as a general principle, that children don't lie about molestation and that they should be believed? The prosecution objected, and the judge sustained. Question: The exhortation that children don't lie about molestation and that you should believe them, is that something you say every time you speak to your peers about evaluating child molestation? Answer: I make that statement. Question: When you say that, do you place any limitations on that premise? Answer: I usually have explanations I give, but I do not make that statement that children, when they make disclosures, should be believed. Question: Do you think your belief that children never lie might be something to do with the low incidence of your findings of false reports? Answer: I don't believe so. Question: You produced a videotape, and you ended that videotape with a statement that children don't lie. Remember? Answer: That's the last thing I said on that tape, yes. Question: Have you changed from that position any? Answer: No. Question: Your belief regarding the anus of this child whose name is redacted is that it's consistent with the history, right? Answer: Yes. Question: Without the history, it would be no opinion, right? Answer: Without the history, it would be a normal anus. Question: Could a doctor say, looking at the anus of this child, that it is consistent with no molestation? Answer: It would be consistent with molestation with no trauma or no molestation. Question: And that's the state of the medical evidence of the child today? Answer: That's correct. So, what is our takeaway from that? Mine is, as far as medical experts are concerned, this case is a wash. Here's the thing, for me anyway. It is my strong opinion that no child was molested by anyone at the McMartin Preschool. Even the two children here, who have said outright, with conviction, that they were in fact molested by Ray and Peggy Bucky, but I believe that they believe something happened to them when they were in preschool. So if they believe it to be true, can it necessarily be considered a lie, technically? And everything else, all the I don't knows and I don't remembers, that's all truth too. But whose truth is it? Is it the child's truth? Or is it what they've been told is the truth? By their parents, Key McFarlane, police, prosecutors? If you've got all these adults telling a young child for years that they were touched inappropriately, what are they supposed to think? I could, right now, go tell my teenage daughter that she was abused in preschool, and she would believe me. Would she remember it? No. But would she know it to be true now, as a part of her reality? Yes, because I told her it was, and she trusts me. Imagine not only me, but doctors, therapists, police, telling her the same thing that I'm telling her. All of that reinforces what I've told her is the truth. And do kids lie? Yes, they do. But usually not for no reason. When I worked in preschool, I was almost always able to ask a child a question about something that happened in the classroom or in the playground that I didn't happen to see, and they would be able to tell me. If I saw a toddler crying, but I didn't see what happened, almost always another child could explain to me why they were crying and I could sort it out. But I have been lied to. I have had two children sitting side by side playing, and suddenly one of them bursts into tears. And I question the one who isn't crying and ask them what happened. And the child will tell me, I don't know. And then once the other child was able to calm down, they tell me the other child bit them. And I pull up their sleeve, and sure as heck, there's a bite mark. And I question the child, who was obviously the only one near enough to the child to have caused the bite mark on the arm, and asked, Did you bite my friend? And the child will say, No. So eventually, I will let things settle down, and I will sit down with the biter, and I would explain that the child said it was you who bit them, and I'm going to say that I'm going to believe that they're telling me the truth because I can see the bite mark on their arm, and I could see you playing next to each other. And then I would tell the child that I understand that they are mad and frustrated, and when they get that way, they feel like biting, and they know that it is not okay to hurt my friends. But it makes me even more sad when you don't tell me the truth. So, if you're able to tell me the truth, we can go say sorry to our friend that we hurt, and when we talk to Mom and Dad, we can tell them that you said that you were sorry and everything is better now. And Miss Roseanne won't be upset anymore. But if you lie to me, we can't say sorry. And not only do I have to tell Mom and Dad that you bit your friend, I have to tell them that you lied to your teacher, and I have to tell them that you couldn't apologize. And usually the kid would admit to the attack, and I'd have to promise I wouldn't be mad if they told me the truth, because the truth is supposed to make me happy. And that's one of the ways that I would get through the lies. I've also had, one time, a 2-year-old scratch themselves and accuse another child of doing it. And I saw that one, thank goodness. Otherwise, I may have been blaming someone innocent. So, to answer the question about children lying, yes, I believe children are capable of lying, but it is not something inherent. It's something that they learn, usually from siblings, possibly from parents, maybe out of fear or to avoid punishment. But generally speaking, most kids are honest, especially in spontaneous situations. I would even go so far as to speculate that when each of these children in the McMartin case were brought into Children's Institute International, that the most genuine answers to come from every single one of them was probably in the very first answers they gave to the therapist interviewing them. Once they began coaxing and leading them, their grasp of the truth was no longer their own. And another thing I do know about children is they like to please. Now, I have never tried to coax a child into saying something that wasn't true, but I do know that they are very receptive to praise and positive reinforcement. They grow strong attachments and bonds to the adults in their lives that they trust, and they want to please us. As a teacher, it's very rewarding. But in a therapy session, when a child is being shamed for not knowing the supposed right answers and being rewarded for giving answers that seem to elicit the praise, eventually they're going to want to give the answers that the adults want to hear. Not every child is doing this, obviously, as Key McFarlane wasn't able to break them all down. Many of them, yes, but not all of them. Not all of them would pony up the answers that she was fishing for. Before I wrap up part 2, I want to switch gears real quick and talk about the jailhouse informant. On September 28, 1987, a jailhouse informant by the name of George Freeman took the stand for the prosecution. Prosecutor Lyle Rubin began by asking him why he was placed in Ray Bucky's cell. He said he was asked by Deputy Halstead to move in because they needed a one-person cell that he was occupying. Freeman told Ray that he was in jail for child molestation, so he would feel more comfortable with him being in there, so he wouldn't be afraid or worried about sharing his cell with someone else, as child molesters are generally not well received in jails and prisons. Here is a portion of his direct testimony under questioning by Lyle Rubin. Question: Mr. Freeman, have you been convicted of any felonies? Answer: Yes, I have. Question: How many? Answer: 5 felonies. Question: Are you on parole? Answer: Yes, I am. Question: Were you recently arrested? Answer: Yes, I was. Question: When? Answer: November 10th, 1987. Question: Have any promises been made to you in order to get you to testify in this case? Answer: No promises whatsoever. Question: Did Ray Bucky tell you while you were in jail that he left town? Answer: Yes, he did. Question: Why did he leave town? Answer: He said he was told to leave town to take pictures and films to South Dakota. He was told to burn them, but he buried them. Question: Did Ray Bucky say that molestations actually occurred in the preschool? Answer: Yes, he did. Question: When? Answer: At nap time. Question: Did he tell you he used anything to help him molest children? Answer: Yes, he did. Question: What did he use to help molest children? Answer: KY jelly and baby oil. Question: You told Ray Bucky that you had molested children in order to make him comfortable. Why is it you wanted to make him comfortable? Answer: I was curious because I have kids. Question: What did he tell you? Answer: He said he f***ed a 2-year-old boy in the butt. Question: Did Ray Bucky tell you he took pictures to South Dakota? Answer: Yes, he did. Question: Did he tell you what was on the pictures and films? Answer: Kids and sex acts. Question: Did he tell you what was done with any other pictures? Answer: Yes, he did. He said some of them were in Denmark. Question: Did you talk to Ray Bucky about church? Answer: Yes, he did. He said he belonged to a church that I couldn't get into because it was a cult. Question: Did Ray Bucky say anything about hurting animals? Answer: Yes, he did. Question: What did he say? Answer: If the kids told on him that he would slaughter a cow at a ranch. Question: Were the kids present? Answer: Yes, they were. Question: How did you get to know Sergeant Dvorak? Answer: I met him in 1983. Question: Was this in another case? Answer: Yes, it was. Question: Did he help you out on the case? Answer: Yes, he did. He went and talked to the judge in San Fernando, and instead of 3 years in prison, I got 1 year in county jail. Question: On March 28th, did a sheriff come and take you to see an attorney? Answer: Yes, he did. Question: When you got to the attorney room, did you see any person you see here today? Answer: Yes, I did. Question: Who did you see? Answer: Ray Bucky and Danny Davis. That's Ray's attorney. Question: And what was said? Answer: He said that the Aryan Brotherhood want my ass, and 2 Mexicans in San Fernando, and the BGF in Soledad, which is the Black Guerrilla family, wanted to get me, and he said he would put me on TV and the newspapers where everybody could see what I looked like. And he told me to get my ass out of Ray Bucky's room, and he said that there would be 2 men waiting for me on the day of my release. Question: Did you tell Sergeant Dvorak about your meeting with Mr. Davis? Answer: Yes, I did. Question: Did he look at your notes? Answer: yes, he did. He said he couldn't read them. Question: did someone suggest that you move out of Los Angeles? Answer: yes, they did. Question: and did anyone give you assistance? Answer: yes, they did. Mr. Gil Brunetti of the DA's office paid the first month's rent, approximately $1,000. Question: did you contact a television station? Answer: yes, I did. Question: what did Dan Layton tell you? Answer: he told me that I can make a lot of money from a movie or a book. Question: did you talk to reporter Wayne Satz at Channel 7? Answer: yes, I did. Satz wanted to put me on TV. So get this, dreamers. The next day, when it was time for Freeman to be cross-examined, he failed to show up for court. 2 days later, Lyle Rubin told the judge that she had heard from Freeman and that he had called her from a payphone sounding kind of drunk. So, what does this mean for the case if this guy is a no-show for his testimony? It's pretty certain that the judge will have to declare a mistrial in the case against Ray and Peggy. What ended up happening is the sheriffs caught wind of where Freeman was hiding out, went to the home, kicked the door in, and arrested him. The judge presiding over the McMartin trial set his bail at $1 million, just to make sure. When he was brought back into court, he was kind of disheveled looking. His arms, sleeved with tattoos, were all exposed. His hair was kind of greasy, and he had on his wrist a band signifying that he is a jailhouse informant. Lyle Rubin really wanted him to have a chance to get gussied up a bit, to be a bit more presentable for trial, and so she requested a recess, but the judge, he wasn't having it, stating, "I have no concern for Mr. Freeman. After wasting $2,700 a day waiting for him to come in, he is the last person on my list. He's a 5-time loser who's committed nearly every felony in the book, so I don't think the jury will mind his appearance." The cross-examination on behalf of the defense was finally able to get underway. The following is a portion from that testimony as he is questioned by Ray's attorney, Daniel Davis. Question: are you afraid of being prosecuted for an unsolved Griffith Park murder? Answer: there's always that possibility. There's no statute of limitations on murder. Question: you don't have any credibility, do you? Answer: no. Question: Mr. Freeman, are you a rat? Answer: they say I am, in different places. Question: Mr. Freeman, how would anybody in the world know how many lies you've told in the preliminary hearing? Answer: only God. Question: and you are a strong-arm robber, aren't you? Answer: depends. Question: depends on what? Answer: if I'm drunk enough. Question: you were an informant in the Bailey case. Answer: yes. Question: and you lied in front of the jury. Answer: one thing, I believe. Question: do you consider that a serious lie? Answer: I had my reasons. Question: those reasons you carried throughout your criminal career, right? Answer: right. Question: I'm going to list cases in which you committed perjury. Is there any case in which you didn't perjure yourself? Answer: I don't know. Question: was there any case that the DA didn't know that you were lying under oath? Answer: I don't know. Question: the DA, Watts, used you as a witness after he knew you lied. Answer: yes, he did. Question: he wrote a letter for you after you told him you lied to him. Answer: yes, he did. Question: in the Bailey case, did you get up and say he made a confession like you did in this case? Answer: yeah. Question: I'd like to talk to you about what you did with some sheep. And at this point, the courtroom filled with laughter. Prosecutor Rubin objected to facts not in evidence, and the judge sustained. So, whatever it was about the sheep, I have no idea. Sorry, dreamers. Okay. Question: you said you have only 5 felony convictions. Isn't it true that you've had 9 felony convictions? Answer: yeah, maybe. By the way you calculate, yeah. Question: have you ever said that a man committed a murder when he did not? Answer: that goes back to Soledad. I didn't see him stab anybody. Question: were you afraid of being seen in newspapers and television discussing the McMartin case, that would endanger you, right? Answer: yes. Question: 2 days after you got out of county jail, whom did you call? Answer: Channel 7, Eyewitness News. Question: and that interview was broadcasted on TV, right? Answer: yes. Question: and you deliberately disobeyed that order? Answer: yes. Question: and you had a relationship with Sergeant Dvorak, and that's the reason you weren't afraid of disobeying an order from a judge? Unfortunately, his answer was unintelligible for this transcription. So, the next question. You say you were concerned for the safety of your family and that it was why you committed your perjuries. Would that be principally your mother and your sister? Answer: yes, it was. Question: and isn't it true in 1983 that you tied up your mother and sister and robbed them and burglarized their home? Answer: yes. 2 weeks after Freeman finished his testimony for the prosecution in the McMartin case as a jailhouse informant, he went on to plead guilty to assaulting his sister. The court ordered him to pay a fee of $75 and to buy his sister a new blouse that he apparently ruined when he assaulted her. Despite this being a parole violation, Freeman was not sent back to prison, as he should have been, this presumably because of his testimony in the McMartin case. 1 month later, Freeman was arrested for robbing a woman inside her home at gunpoint and stealing $3,000 worth of valuables. Following this arrest, he placed many calls to Lyle Rubin, likely looking for a case to be an informant about so he could work out a deal on his latest strong-arm home invasion robbery. But thankfully, Rubin refused to accept his calls. He would go on to be sentenced to 13 years for that last crime. Okay, dreamers, it is time to end this story for now, but don't worry. I am feverishly working to put together the series for you as quickly as possible so you don't have to wait, and so we can move on to a new case next week. And I'm hoping part 3 will be the conclusion. We will go over the defense case, some of the monetary issues surrounding the McMartin case. Hopefully I will be able to get into the archaeological dig for the tunnels under the preschool. We will go over what the outcome was and the fallout. I really appreciate you guys sticking with me through this terrible case. This is the one that I was telling you about a couple weeks ago. If you listened to episode 44, where we talked about the murder of Michelle O'Keefe and the conviction of Ray Jennings, this is the case that I mentioned that I had to push back because it was way too involved for me to have been able to complete it in time for that weekend's episode. I guess I could have told you about the case and left out a whole bunch of these details, but honestly, you have to really understand what went on in order to grasp exactly everything that went wrong with this case. So now you can kind of get an idea of why I couldn't put this together for just one episode. I want to take the time to thank all of you who jumped in on Patreon to support the show. I had a recent spike of not only new supporters, but also those who have increased their support, including so far for the month of May, Jans, Jessica G, Darren J, Melissa F, Stephanie S, Lindsay G, Sarah P, Key S, Catherine B, and Valerie W. Many thanks to all of you, and I will be sending out thank you notes very, very soon. If you'd like to help support the production of California Dreaming and gain access to all of my bonus content, you can do so for as little as $1 a month. California Dreaming also has a PayPal if you'd like to make a one-off donation to help with the creation of this podcast. Our email there is californiapod@yahoo.com. That's KILLAFORNIAPOD @yahoo. You can also help if you listen on Apple Podcasts by leaving a 5-star review, or you can visit the merchandise store where you can get California Dreaming merchandise from TeePublic. You can also find the link for that at www.orbitaljigsaw.com and click on the store link. Also, don't forget to join the California Dreaming discussion page where we post about the cases we cover as well as other topics involving true crime. You can also follow us on Twitter at CaliforniaPod and Instagram at California Dreaming Pod. California Dreaming is presented to you by the Orbital Jigsaw Network. Have you had a chance to visit our newly designed website? It's really nice, and you can find me and all of the other shows that we have partnered with and the network, including The Concession Stand, Busted Wide Open, Super Nerds UK, The Dirty Bits, Historium, Is This Adulting, 41 Owned, Film Roast, Vox Arcana, and The Podience, which is a show geared towards podcast hosts and aspiring hosts, giving you all the ins and outs of the podcasting world. And before I let you go, I have to tell you that on Thursday, you are going to see a totally random thing pop up in your California Dreaming feed. It is an extended promotion for a brand new podcast brought to you by Wondery called The Wonderland Murders. So I'd appreciate it if you could give my little spot for them a listen if you can, because it's a fascinating case right from my very own home state. Keep your eyes on your feed for the next installment of the Tale of the McMartin Preschool. I am hoping to have it ready for you by Friday or Saturday so I can take the rest of the weekend off. Maybe. I am so tired right now because I'm trying to get this up by the morning. Thank you for listening, and I will see you in a couple of days. Until next time, sweet dreams.